And we're live. Roll up, ladies and gentlemen. One man went to mill. It's your man, not your boy. One man went to mill. Buhari has been a bad boy. So apologies for coming on so late. I had not intended to come on this late. In fact, I had not intended to come on at all today. Not today, rather, but for this time slot, because I had some work being done, and of course had to supervise that. But my intention is to. Oh, hello, Ayokunle. Yes, my intention is to have 2 sessions a day for the whole of this month, and I was just determined not to break that sequence. So that's why I have decided to come on now. So apologies for coming on late, and I know I posted it on my community tab to say that this afternoon's session has been cancelled, but here we are. So roll up, one man went to mow. It's your man, not your boy. One man went to mow. So matters are rising. You've seen the headline. We'll be doing 3 stories actually in this session. So one, of course, is the headline story, which you've already seen, is a Pantami. There's a continuing evidence. Imagine that this guy is not only a jihad, is not only Islamization merchant, but is an extremist jihadist. So a lot of that to come. One of those side comments, the side comments that the teachers leave on your report? Well, a teacher left a very interesting side comment on a student's report in Surulere. So we shall be going through that as well. And then, of course, the new chairperson of the APC party, Mia Malabuni, he is now married to uh, one of Abata's daughters, Gomsu, or something like that, her name is. But then, of course, it will interest you to know what he paid as the bridal, whatever bridal something that they paid, the bridal price, the dowry. 24 bars of gold this guy puts down to marry Abata's daughter. But then, of course, he is the chairman of the APC, which gives him free access to the Central Bank of Nigeria. So, of course, all these matters to be discussed. But we'll start off with the Issa Pantimi story because, of course, we'd already done a session on this guy, Issa Pantimi. You recall when we did that session, we were discussing how this guy was put on the American terrorist watch list. And then, of course, that story broke within the Nigerian space. And then, of course, that story broke within the Nigerian space. This guy then subsequently came out to dispel this story and to threaten the journalists that published, the publications that published this story. So he was quite aggressive in his denial, even though during that storyline, there was a video clip showing him interacting with the founder of Boko Haram, a man called Mohammed Yusuf, who is now deceased. So now, the controversy has still not petered out off the back of that he being on the American watch list or not, when new revelations is now emerging that this guy is not only a fundamentalist, but an extremist. So we have an extremist fundamentalist in charge of the Nigerian internet space effectively, because if it's in charge of our communications and digital economy, that effectively means the internet space within the Nigerian space. So let's get straight into it. Please say hello as you're coming in. So we have an Usman Tanimu, asking how sure we are about this story. Well, we'll get into the throes of it, and you can make that determination for yourself, Usman. We have Ayon Kunle. I can imagine what could be his reasons for pressuring Nigerians to register NIN. So that is what he thinks. And Damilare Raphael, this country, Sha. So let's just get into first. So I'll be giving you this stories in stanzas because it's long and involved. But let's get into the first throes of it. So the headline, Unmasking a Jihadi Masquerade, the Many Faces of Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami. So the unmasking of Pantami, this is somebody that's gone to great length to expose this guy. So now let's now see what this person has come up with. Just bear with me 1 second. Nigerian Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Ali Isa Ibrahim Pantami, is a man of many descriptions. To some, he's a bright-eyed, relentless, intelligent, and academically competent young Turk who has found his way into the topmost level of Nigeria's government at the relatively young age of 48. To others, he is a symbol of how deeply held and to others, he is a symbol of how deeply held and unapologetic public religious faith can coexist and interoperate with modernity and cosmopolitanism without contradiction. So, big words being used in this piece, so I have to lock into my dictionary in my head. His Twitter handle proudly displays his impressive academic credentials side by side with his proud elementary educational background at an Islamic Sargaya, and that means to non-Hausa speakers. So Islamic Sangaya, that's Tsangaya. So that's an Hausa word, but to the non-Hausas readers might be more familiar with the term Almajiri. So he went to an Almajiri type school for his elementary school. Despite his impressive credentials and his reportedly genial personality, which has endeared him to many, however, many whispers and rumors about an alleged dark past has continuously swirled around him at every point in his 5 years career as a public servant. From his 2016 appointment as DG/CEO at the National Information Technology Development Agency, NITDA, through to his appointment as a cabinet minister in 2019, these rumors have refused to go away. Today, for the first time ever, we can authoritatively lift the veil on Dr. Ali Isa Ibrahim Pantami and establish his strong and indisputable connection to and deeply held sympathy for the dark world of Salafist Islamic terrorism. It is a story that starts in Pantami's ward in Gombe. Okay, let's pause there for a moment, see what you guys are actually saying. So this is now we're fleshing out now the background to this guy. Let's see. What are people saying? Damilare, we are with you, sir. You are on point. Usman, being you as a citizen, what is wrong with you getting an NIN? So that is a different conversation that is going on there. But let's get deep into this because it's a long piece, as I said. So I'll take it from the top of that paragraph again. Today, for the first time ever, we can authoritatively lift the veil on Dr. Ali Isa Ibrahim Pantami and establish his strong and indisputable connection to and deeply held sympathies for the dark world of Salafist Islamic terrorism. It is a story that starts in Pantami's ward in Gombe State, meanders through extreme controversy at Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi State, takes a notable detour through a Saudi Arabian university known as a global hotbed for Salafist terror recruitment, and eventually ends with a known terror sympathizer and ideological gradualist sitting in Nigeria's federal cabinet. So this is the back story. So this person that wrote this piece is promising a lot. Pantami's educational controversies, variously known as Dr. Isa Pantami, Sheikh Pantami, and Shaikh Isa Ali Pantami, he has the unique distinction of being one of the very few people to achieve high level of academic achievement in both Western and Islamic education, following a non-standard education path that included 4 years at Sangaya and 2 years of independent Islamic study after primary and secondary school. Pantami gained admission to Pantami gained admission to Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU, in the late 1990s, where he studied computer science. He graduated with a B.Tech in 2003. He graduated with a B.Tech in 2003, followed by an MSc in 2008, and this is where the story starts to get interesting. His official Twitter handle includes a bio link to his Wikipedia page, which is poorly referenced and light on detail. On further examination of the sources attributed to his Wikipedia page, it becomes evident that much of what is written there is in fact lifted word for word from an official government press release sent out to the media. So effectively, this guy has created his own Wikipedia page himself. So I'm just skimming through some bits. Both straightforward accounts of his educational career make no mention of any controversial. Both straightforward accounts of his educational career make no mention of any controversy during his academic career. Keep this in mind for later. Whilst digging into his academic qualifications, I was able to confirm that he did, in fact, obtain a PhD in 2014 from Robert Gordon University in Aberdeen. His impressive PhD thesis is linked here. It is impossible to verify his claims of attending Harvard, MIT, IMB, and Oxford universities independently, although the nature of short certificate programs make it necessary to extend the benefit of doubt. So let me just pause there for a moment, because you have to understand the point that this guy is making. This guy is going through is starting from the beginning and is going through the details of the credentials of Issa Pantami. So he has been able to verify that, yes, he did go to Tafawa Balewa University and went on to get his PhD from an American university, which is impressive enough. And not a lot of people can boast of that. So that is impressive enough. But then this guy, in his Wikipedia page, he went on to add that he went to MIT, Oxford, etc., etc. So a lot of people do this, and people like Dino Melaye, they are notorious for doing this. When Dino Melaye will list all of the major universities in the world and tell you that he attended those universities. And by the way, when they say they attended those universities, it is not a word of a lie. But then, of course, if you go and attend a 2-day course in the University of Oxford and they give you some paper at the end of it, you can claim that you went to Oxford University, but that is not at the same level of someone who went there to study philosophy for 3-4 years. But of course, you went there for 2 days and you can still parade yourself as having attended there. So that is what that guy is hinting at with that question mark that is putting on his credentials there. So we carry on. Where did we stop? So we can assume that these claims are all true, and of course, for the reasons that I've just now elucidated. Pardon me. The neat cover story starts to fall apart, however, when a reference from an American diplomatic cable leaked in 2009 by WikiLeaks suggests that in his prior iteration as an academic at ATBU, Pantami was in fact a radical extremist cleric whose views were so repulsive that he was kicked out of the university and from a mosque in his local native Gombe State. So that is the first big blow that we're landing on. So let's go through that again, actually. So we have the impact. The neat cover story. So the neat cover story is all that impressive narration of academic achievement that we have already gone through. And that is very neat and tidy and impressive. But this is where it starts to fall apart. The neat cover story starts to fall apart, however, when a reference from an American diplomatic cable leaked in 2009 by WikiLeaks suggests that in his prior iteration as an academic at ATBU, so that's the Tafawa Balewa University, ATBU, Pantami was in fact a radical extremist cleric whose views were so repulsive that he was kicked out of the university and from the mosque in his native Gombe state. So let's just rest on that comment for a moment. So he went to Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University. So already that tells you that that is a northern leaning religious sort of a setup. He's from Gombe State, which of course tells you that it's a northern leaning religious setup. And of course, he attends the mosque in his locality, which is the normal practice within that region. But these guys' views were so extreme that even in that environment, they found it repulsive. So this is exactly the point, and this is where it starts to fall apart. Remember, he's still trying to deny that he's on the American watch list of people of interest when it comes to acts of terrorism. So this is where it starts to flesh out. So we carry on. Let's just where we're picking, because like I said, it's long-winded, so I'm just skimming through some bits. It gets more, and the bits that I'm skimming through, by the way, they are just screen grabs that have been added to this piece. So I'm not shortcutting you in any way. It gets more interesting where his personal, it gets more interesting where his personally approved Wikipedia profile makes no mention of a stint in Saudi Arabia or what happened there. A bit of digging up, sorry, I'll take that from top again. It gets more interesting where his personally approved Wikipedia profile makes no mention of a stint in a Saudi Arabia university or what happened there. A bit of digging turns up information that significantly changes the clean-cut picture he's eager to present. According to multiple verified online and offline sources, Issa Pantami, in fact, spent a number of years learning and lecturing at the University of Medina in Saudi Arabia. So they gleaned this information actually from islamicmarkets.com. So you can go there as well and look this guy up. This information is very important for two reasons. First, the Islamic University of Medina, IUM, is globally recognized as a hotbed for Salafist Islamic terror recruitment. Whilst it does not itself teach or openly condone terror, it is the undisputed global headquarters of Salafist fundamentalism. The below excerpts from a UK Guardian article from 2001 illustrates how IUM serves as a recruitment pipeline that feeds extremist groups like the Taliban, etc. So I could read you the piece. Okay, actually, let me just read you, because this is where it now gets heavy going, because they capture all these screen grabs to add as evidence to back this piece up. So this is very difficult to refute piece, but we will, of course, await to see how Issa Pantami responds to this. So this is the piece that was gleaned from the Guardian in London, the Guardian in the UK, the British newspaper Guardian, that reports then on this University of Medina. Investigators hunting members of Osama bin Laden's network. Investigators hunting members of Osama's network have discovered that all suspected members arrested in Europe over the past 10 months follow an extreme Salafi interpretation of religion. According to a source close to the investigation and a detailed intelligence assessment seen by The Guardian, a document found by the FBI in the luggage of one of the September 11 persons also suggests Salafi influence. Salafis not only take the religious text literally, but seek to revert to an ancient and pure form of religion. Although most are ultra conservative, there are militant wings which yes, so I'm just skimming through some words for reasons of YouTube. So let me skip to this paragraph. The link between Salafi and Osama's group will prove acutely embarrassing to the Saudis, whose royal family have invested huge sums of money spreading Salafi thoughts abroad. The leading center, so this is what I wanted to land down before I just go through to the next paragraph. The leading center for the study and export of Salafi ideas is the Islamic University of Medina in Saudi Arabia, which was founded by the king in 1961 to convey the external message of the religion to the world. So I'll go to this next bit, which is highlighted. The Islamic University of Medina has long been known as a recruiting ground for fighters despite periodic clampdowns. Formal teaching is ultra-conservative. Formal teaching is of the ultra-conservative kind approved by the royal family, but the problem is what happens outside the classroom, according to former students. So this is the training that this guy got, some extremist training from an extremist setup. So let's see what you guys are making of it before we press on. Sorry, bear with me. So I'm just going to read through your comments to see how on board you guys are. So we last stopped with Usman. So we go to Damilari. Damilari, Usman, your people are making this country hard. So I'm not quite sure. First, tell your people to stop discriminating. I live in Yoruba land and I know what is going on there. So they're having their own sort of like a tribal part in the shadow. So I'll leave Usman and Damilari to it. So we go to Jack. Jack says, first time to seeing your face. Well, there you are, Jack. So Usman goes on, you guys literally separated yourself from us. This is what comes about your misunderstanding. Please ask your parents to tell you more about Nigeria. Well, nobody should really have to ask their parents to tell them more about Nigeria, if only the history was being taught in the Nigerian schools. But then, of course, we all know that history has been removed from the curriculum of the Nigerian schools. So now let's go on to the next commentator, WR1. It says, present-day government of Nigeria is close enough to that Morsi, to the brotherhoods in Egypt. Let me just highlight that because there are certain texts that I am not really keen to read out in full. But then, of course, you have your right to free speech. But then, of course, I also have the right not to voice them out. It says, if you read this book, you would understand why Nigeria is faced with its current issues. What Britain did to Nigeria, a short history of conquest and rule hardcover. So you don't need the hardcover to read the book. Buy the cheapest one. The words are still the same. Jennifer chimes in. These northerners, let me highlight her comment as well, actually. These northerners has been making this Almaderi baby from their, I don't know, that's just us. I'll leave that up there for anybody that wants to read this. Let me just press on with this piece because I want to try and get through 3 stories. So there's still 2 more stories to come. So we'll just round off the Pantami matter and then go on to the next one. The second reason that we should be very interested in Pantami's undisclosed sojourn within the world of Islamic education is that according to multiple sources, he studied the teachings of hardline Salafist scholars, including Sheikh Mohammed Saleh al-Ud, I'm not going to attempt that, al-Utamin. So I'll spell that for you. So it's Mohammed Saleh, then Al, and then the last name is Uthay, Meen. So that's the last name. And so I'll just call him Sheikh Al from now. So if I reference Sheikh Al, then that is the name that I am referencing. For those who do not know Sheikh Al, here is a collection of quotes and fatwas issued by the man described as a giant of Salafi movement. So here is a quote that they have highlighted. It says, Wahhabi giant Mohammed ibn Al, so that same guy, backed the ban because, according to him, driving would lead to. So this is the ban on women driving. So it's just one of those type of people. So already somebody that is backing bans. Let's take it from the top, from the paragraph before that. Senior council members Saleh Al-Fazan defended the ban. Sorry, I'm just trying to give you context to it. I'm not being flaky, but let's just say, excuse me. Senior council member Saleh Al-Fawan defended the ban, asserting that it would force women to take off their full face veils to let them see the road and allow them to leave the house at night. So this is a ban on women driving, of course, and this person then goes on to defend that ban, and that person, of course, being is a Pantami's mentor. So let's just skim through and go on to the next part of it. So let's just add one more thing that sheikh said. This sheikh that is Pantami's mentor, let's just add one more thing that he said, just to give you context. And we are saying this just to give you context of the sort of people that shaped the mind of the person that now parades himself as the Nigerian Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. So here is another view expressed by Sheikh Al. Sheikh Al says that peace between followers and non-followers. I'm being careful with the wording. So followers, of course, you know what I mean by that. So Sheikh Al says peace between followers and non-followers can only be temporary because jihad is the highest form of religion. So this is just the sort of a language that this guy is vested in and rested within. So it goes on to give us several quotes from the sheikh. So we just skim through that. So he's giving us now this background and is now setting this question. Is this just a series of coincidence? So all these instances of this guy being a Salafist and an extremist and being kicked out of our university for having extreme views, to the point that he was even kicked out of the mosque for having extreme views. And we, of course, seen him in videos parlaying with the founder of Boko Age. So are all these things a coincidence is the question. So this piece then attempts to answer this. So it goes, so far we have established that Issa Pantami has a side to... Sorry, bear with me one moment. That was just my phone. Okay, so we pick it from that piece again. So far, we have established that Issa Pantami has a side to his past educational pursuits that most people were not aware of. However, it is tempting to dismiss these links to Salafist terror and extremism as mere coincidence. Apart from what is essentially gossip from WikiLeaks cable, the documented views of teachers he studied with, and the well-earned terror recruit hotspot reputation of the university in Medina where he taught, there is no actual evidence so far to suggest that Issa Pantami himself is an extremist. So this guy is now fleshing it out so to land heavy. So how heavy does he land? So now let's see. He carries on. He himself has tried to present himself as an unfortunate victim of such circumstances beyond his control. Commenting on a recent viral video that depicted him in a debate with Boko H founder Mohammed Yusuf, he claimed that he was in fact a moderate scholar taking on a self-imposed and heroic task of de-radicalizing Salafist extremists using his superior knowledge of religion and his ability to debate. He is apparently the victim of bigotry. He is apparently the victim of bigotry perpetrated by people who do not understand the Hausa language or context. How on earth could a STEM PhD holder with academic achievements spanning Harvard, MIT, Oxford, and Cambridge be a low-key religious extremist and a terror apologist? What a ridiculous thought. So this guy is really fleshing it out. So it goes, what a ridiculous thought, or is it? So now he goes now to land the hammer. Cross sections of Issa Pantami's Who Are the Taliban public lecture. So he delivered a lecture apparently titled, so before I even carry on, it looks as though this guy is seeped and satiated and marinated within that environment. I am inviting you guys to come on, by the way. If anybody wants to come on stream to come and take this on live, Usman, if you want to click on that hyperlink, then you can come on screen and express your views, or anyone else that is interested. So click on the hyperlink and come on stream to come and express your views. Let me just take this thing off the screen because it's a distraction now. Okay, so let's go back to the piece. Where were we? So now he goes on. In his prior incarnation as an imam, Isa Ali Pantami, our hero, has been accused of making several incendiary utterances and expressing support for violent jihadists around the world. With the exception of the WikiLeaks cable, there has been precious little to substantiate this claim until now. For the first time, readers can listen to Imam Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami in his own words. I'm going to actually download this to see if I can tag it on. So just bear with me one moment. Okay, it's too long actually. I'm not going to tag it on, but I will put it in the description box so you can actually go see where this guy is expressing his views on extremism. He does speak it in his own language, but then of course that doesn't stop anyone. That language is not exclusive to him alone, so that language is understood. So where were we? In his prior incarnation as an imam, Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, our hero, has been accused of making several incendiary utterances and expressing support for violent jihadists around the world. With the exception of a WikiLeaks cable, there has been precious little to substantiate these claims until now. For the first time, readers can listen to Imam Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami in his own words, expressing deep support and admiration for Osama and the Afghan Taliban, even praying, may God help us to imitate their good. So there you have it. So this guy is not even asking you to believe the words that he's writing now. There's actually audio clips of this guy actually making these pronouncements, which he has attached to this piece. So he's not asking you to take any single thing on faith. This is evidence-backed pronouncement. So it carries on. The following recordings is from a public lecture Pantami delivered on September the 12th, 2006 in Bauchi State, titled Suweyi Yan Taliban, Who Are the Talibans? The recording is also freely available on Nigerian Islamic community website, dawanigeria.com. So this is where they gleaned this from. The following translations were made by an Andre Bariglia, PhD, Director of Center for Contemporary Islamic Studies at the University of Cape Town, South Africa. It was found on her website. It was found in her 2019 paper, Debating Boko H. Osama is mentioned in various instances in this section. So I'm not going to go through all of that actually because it's long and long-winded. Let me just see where I can pick it up again. Well, let me just pick it up from the last paragraph because, like I said, it is detailed, but I will add a link to this piece in the description box so you can go have a read through it yourself and interrogate it fully. So we go to the last paragraph of this, and then I'll come back into the room to come and see what you guys are making of it. The section concludes that a quote from Safar al-Hawaii, which is also a favorite scare quote for the reservoirs of contemporary Islamophobes, according to which, we just leave it there, but it's long and long-winded and heavy on this. With gremlins in the work. So we've had Sorry, I'm just going through the comment section. We've had several instances now on copious enough evidence now of this guy being a fundamentalist and an extremist. So it is bad enough that he's a Nigerian minister. It should not be a Nigerian minister. It should be somebody that is being closely monitored by the security service. So that's one. But the second thing is, and the most potent and the most worrisome bit is, this is the guy now that is asking you to gather all your data into some NIN so that he will have all of the data of all Nigerians, all 200 million of you. So the 200 million data that this guy gathers and the sympathy that he has for a particular sort of a Salafist outlook, the two are potent mix. The two are mixes that should not go together because, of course, it is effectively then serving up data 200 million Nigerians into the hands of these people. We've got somebody wanting to chime in. Chairman, what says? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, can you tone down whatever device you have? There's some reverb. Yeah, what says
Yes,
you?
I just did. Yes, so I mean, we've heard all the evidence. I mean, there's nothing to. It's not like. I mean, there's no hard evidence where like he's been linked to any tangible activity, but he's been in that line. And I'll also say this:
There is hard enough evidence.
well,
We've seen videos, we've heard audios, we've seen evidence of instances of him being dismissed from institutions for having
right,
extreme views.
right,
We know that he was a teacher in an institution that is globally recognized as a recruitment site for extreme views. So there's plenty
right.
enough evidence.
Okay, fine. I mean, I was even thinking, like he's not been like linked recently to any Boko Haram, violent like activity or anything. But that's not even the main thing I want to talk about. The main thing I want to talk about is okay. So this is the first one, or one of the few ones we've heard about or know of. But can we really believe that this is the only one in Nigeria?
Oh no.
Is he the only one with such mentality? And is this a culture in the north? Because if it is, yes, Karen, what were you going to say?
Yeah. No. I was just going to agree with you. Not only do I not believe that is a one-off, this is not an aberration. This is actually the norm within that
Thank you.
region of the space. And I expect that the person that is not like this guy is actually the aberration. The person that is normal within that setup is actually the aberration because, of course, it's the same mix. The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Tanko Mohammed, his specialism is in Sharia law. Nigeria is
Yes.
a secular state. So we have this guy now, Pantami. The evidence is copious and plentiful as to his leaning. So it's just the same thing that repeats. And we of course we know that the criteria for recruitment into Buhari's government is just twofold: ethnicity and religion. So I mean, this is the CV. We're talking Issa Pantimi, but this is the CV of virtually all of them, by my
Exactly.
reckoning.
Exactly. And the irony is many of us went to school with many of them. Many of us, thinking back now, could have seen, a lot of them with such leanings. And my own personal experience, I went to school with this guy. When this guy, and when I was in boarding school, I won't call his name. He was one of the Fulani people that made it into into one of the federal government schools based on the quota system. But he was one of the brightest and one of the more sociable ones. But today, if you go to his Facebook page, all you see is Islamic inscriptions, and when it's in English, it's hardcore Salafist Islamic stuff. Hardcore. When you
You
see
have
his
to
pictures,
you have to understand in a lot of and let's acknowledge who you help, by the way, is a member of the panel, but is late to the
hi.
office today, so you are making the coffees today, who you help, but we've got Starman now interacting with the session. You have to understand that in some instances, a lot of these people are almost victim of the environments that they grew up in. Because if you think that the indoctrination is pretty much from birth and is repeated every day and every day and every day, there is almost an impossibility from anybody from that culture to have a mindset that is different from the mindset that these people have, because of the relentless level of indoctrination that goes on within that space.
Yes. Okay. So I want to ask you two questions, but let me start with the first one. So do you think Nigeria should remain one with these people, or we should just divide, since our cultures are clearly polarized?
Right?
Our cultures are not just like literally antithetical to each other.
Yes.
So
And
is
the,
there any point for us to,
and the
keep
second
fighting?
question?
Well, let's start with the first one, because the second question that I actually think is a very important one. But let's start with the
Okay.
first one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that our cultures are antithetical to each other, but certainly there's enough divergence to say that we're completely different people. So what we have in Nigeria is effectively telling the Chinaman, the Englishman, and the man from India to come together within one space and form a country. It will never work because, of course, these people are steeped and satiated in their being, and they are vested and rested in their culture, and they believe in the supremacy of their being. It's a bit like asking the Germans and the French and the English to come together and form a country. It will never work.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
will not work because not because any of those three are fundamentally bad, but because they are fundamentally different. They're completely different people, as we are within the Nigerian space. I was saying in another interaction that there is no commonality between a man from Ekiti State and a man from Borno State. The man from Ekiti State has not one single thing, not one, not apart from sharing a passport. It doesn't have one single thing in common with the man from Borno State. So we're completely
Exactly.
different people, and really, I haven't now experimented for going on 70 years. I haven't tried the best we can. Maybe it's not the best we can offer, but haven't tried to mix in whatever form that we have tried. The fault lines are so pronounced that it is now glaring that really this is something that patently does not work. Can we have let's just acknowledge who you help, and then we come back
Right.
to you to who you help. We were meaning to discuss pastors today, but we landed on the politicians again. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Good afternoon to everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so Starman, what says you?
Okay, fine. So it's clear now that we have fundamental differences with the Northerners, and I'll go on to my second question. And this one's more personal.
No, sorry.
Depending
Before you
on
go on to your sorry. Before you go on to your second question, what is your answer to your first question?
sorry. Okay,
What
now
is your
yes,
answer
okay.
to your
I
first
think
question?
I think yeah, like you said, after going into the seventh decade now of trying to build a country, and from what we can see from the 1960s, it's got progressively worse. At this stage, I don't think there's any miracle anybody alive today can do to save Nigeria. I mean, from the 1960s, we had brilliant minds like Azikiwe and or Awolowo, and I'm sure you've seen videos of this man. You've heard them speak. Is Can you tell me if there's any Nigerian politician today that's on any of their calibers?
Well,
None.
there are people. No. I wouldn't say no. There are people of that caliber, but they are not people of that level of principle and steadfastness. Because the system has been so corrupted within the Nigerian space that greed now seems to be the only religion that is worshipped, to the point that people are setting aside every other belief system other than that greed. Because, well, I mean, there are people that are more learned than Awo and Zik, etc. in Nigeria now. I mean, look at Madam Ngozi, look at Wole Soyinka, look at Chinua Achebe, look at anybody and everybody. They're brilliant minds still in that country, but because of the landscape, the brilliance has been moved to align with the environment that we live in, other than to vesting itself in more altruistic pursuits.
Okay. Now, why I'm backing the breakup of Nigeria is because
Sorry, can I ask you a
I
question before you carry? Are you Igbo?
yes,
Are you Biafran?
yes,
Are you IPOB?
no.
Okay, carry on. I always ask that question for reasons, but carry on.
But I mean, by virtue of being Biafran, I am IPOB. All Biafrans are indigenous peoples of Biafra.
Okay, yes, that's the
Right.
usual answer I get to that question. But carry on. Make your
Right.
second point.
But yeah, by virtue of these differences, I think at this stage, just like you said, you cannot form a country with a Chinese man, an Afghan man, an American, and a Brazilian. It's not going to work. And we've been experiencing that same thing for 60 years. And what we've clearly seen happening is this particular difference of ethnicity and religion has been used to keep the space called Nigeria disorganized and keep the people from organizing themselves. And you now have a situation where you can send a Fulani man on an appointment to somewhere in Yoruba land, and he will loot the office or parastatal where he's working dry, knowing fully well that all he needs to do when someone blows the alarm is run back to the north, and his northern brothers will protect him. And so and now if this situation was reversed
Another,
where
sorry to interrupt you. Another trick that they use, and we saw this with what's that guy that went to marry some little girl from Egypt, Senator Yerima.
yes,
Another trick that they use, when you start to come out after them for wrongdoing, they will then immediately say that this is an attack against the North and their
yes,
religion. So at the moment they say it's an attack against the North and their religion, the entirety of their space will then rally behind them, and then you have this mass then standing up for this wrongdoing that this guy has done, and then of course it peters out. So that's how it usually goes.
right. If this was reversed and we were in our own indigenous nations, say a Yoruba president or a Yoruba minister loots his ministry, where is he going to run? He can only run out of Ududua land, and run as far and as long as you want. You're going to have to come back one day. It's not like a clandestine mission where you sneak from your land to someone else's land to loot. No, you're looting your people, and you eventually face them. And I think this is a big reason why we need. I'm not saying if there was a Dudua land or Biafra, there still won't be corruption. There's corruption in almost every nation. Yeah, that's just the human condition. Even though I don't believe that to be 100% the human condition, but yes, there is corruption in today's world. But it will not be as bad as it is in Nigeria today. You know, in Nigeria today,
Yes, because
other
yes,
ethnic groups cannot use you to work
what you're
against
saying,
your people.
Starman.
Yeah.
Starman, let us have who you help come in because he's been waiting patiently, and then we'll have like a three-way. Who you help?
Actually, the brother is 100% right. You know, when we are dealing with different tribes and religion and culture and everything, the space of Nigeria, I think, is too big for the psychological of politicians in Nigeria to rule as big as Nigeria. That is one. And I will go back to the to one of his quotes, Starman. Actually, you are right that there is. I think your question was like, can any politician of these days be compared to Awolowo or Nnamdi Azikiwe? No one. Let's be realistic and be frank. There is no one of them that have the integrity or that have the mindset
or vision
to do the kind of job those two people have done brilliantly. There is Awolowo is a lawyer. Nnamdi Azikiwe is intellectual. So we what is it called? Wole Soyinka and all the rest and all the rest brilliant Nigerians. Those have not hold they have not been elected into in an office. So the point is this: how many politicians today can we vouch that they can do the job of Nnamdi Azikiwe or Awolowo? I don't think any one of them exists right now in Nigeria. My other point is this: actually, if we have Oduduwa Republic and Biafra and the Arewa, which is from the north, for example, if a Yoruba man steals from his own people, we knew his family, we knew his house, we knew everything about him.
Exactly.
You know, during the military regime, Babangida virtually will transfer a northerner to the east to be their governor.
Exactly.
And then he will loot as much as he can. So when actually he's living there, the East are more poorer than when he came into office. Because nobody could arrest him because his godfather is in the north. So he actually go back to the north and cool down for a while, and then as time goes on, they give him an appointment again. Look what happened in the Lekki situation. The military were the one that shoot.
They sent a northern officer to give the
orders. So they give the order to kill people in Lekki. What did the president do? For them not to face panel or face prosecution from the Hague, he gave them a political assignment, an ambassador. So they are free from indictment, they are free from prosecution and everything. And then here you have the Easterner, before anything could happen, they are all corrupt. And then, you know, we always use this word that, the Hausa, they don't like money, they are so calm. The Igbo, I'm coming, I'm sorry. Please, let me finish. You know, how many of the Nigerian citizens today has oil well? We can count them. And then the highest, they are from the north.
The list is on the internet. 80% of the oil wells are owned by the northerners.
So why are we deceiving ourselves? And it's a sad situation that our politicians in the south, southwest, southeast, they just crawl to these people. They crawl to them. Look, Tinubu wanted to campaign for the first campaign.
But why is that? Why is that?
The point is this. Why is that? Is because those south politicians, southwest, southeast, they are all dumb and stupid.
And
no,
I don't agree. I think they are afraid.
Let me add.
Is what is
dumb? They are under duress. They are under. Our politicians in the south are under duress
They are powerless.
This stems from the rigging Britain did when they finally gave us fake, fraudulent flag independence. That they rigged the seats in the north to be more in the Senate or Parliament than in the south. Meaning that the north will always have a majority. Meaning that the south, once you as a south in the minority begins to stick your head up and cause confusion and cause instability for against what the northerners want, because they're a bigger gang than you, when they gang up on you, you will feel it. And over time, they've ground down our politicians to actually acknowledge that this hegemony exists. Why do you think our politicians always look at Tinubu parading himself in the north? Look at him now, giving $50 million.
No, the point is this.
Sorry, who you help? Sorry, Starman. I'll let you finish your point, then I'll make a point, then I'll go to who you help, and then we'll go on to another story, because we label this storyline often in these sessions. So finish your point quickly. I'll just add a little bit, and then I think who you help is quite keen to make a point as well. So off you go, Starman.
So basically, this duress that the southern politicians are under, it's not just from them. This duress is historical. It's a gang up between the foreigners who colonized the Africans, because this duress is not only happening in Nigeria. It's a gang up between the foreigners who colonized the Africans and the enemies within the Africans who were helping the foreigners enslave, and then after enslaving, colonize the Africans. And these enemies within are their ethnic. See, one of the greatest lies ever told to black people or Africans is that, in fact, two of the greatest lies ever told to Africans. One was that you are all African. That was one. Implying that as long as you have black skin, you are all one group. But when you take time to study it, you find out there are actually about 6 to 7 different types of Africans. And that during the slave trade, some...
let's not go that far back, just because of the pressure of time. Let me just make this point, and then we get who you help. Just to add on to what you were saying about the disparity within the Nigerian system, have you paid attention to the people being arrested for corruption, etc.? Because the names that I hear are like Tunde, Emeka, Okechukwu, Bola, etc. I'm not hearing too many Usmans or Mukhtars, even though it is the Usmans and the Mukhtars that are actually sitting on top of the Nigerian wealth and just dipping into it as they will. They've just recently arrested Rochas Okorocha now, but where is the guy in Kano State, Gombe State, etc.? Abubakar Malami is building estates like it was Donald Trump all over the country just because he's now Minister of Justice, etc. Who you help?
My point is this.
Can I buttress what you're saying? It's not just...
quickly, so that we can get who you help in.
Also, why is it all the people that are retiring from the military are from the south? All the officers.
Yeah, of course. We all know why. Who you help?
Okay, good. The point is this. During the military administration, what did they do? They send the South, Southwest, Southeast, they send them to Europe, America, England, Britain to study, to do their military course. Why the Northerner, they sit down. When those people come back home, they retire them immediately. So the power continued to be by the North in the military. And then look at the coup. The Northerners actually used the military in their own way to conquer the South, Southwest, Southeast. But the other problem is this, like you said, Starman, the enemy within, they are worse than the Northerners. The enemy within, our home people, they are even worse than the worst than the Northerners. Like also, our home people are worse than our colonial masters.
Yes.
So these are the problems we are facing every day. We should know this.
Perspective.
Yeah, we should understand this, that How can a governor in our state, in each every one of our state, can get the allocation money, and then they are building mansion every day for themselves, and yet our road, electricity, they cannot do it. Our schools, they could not fix any one of those things, and that was their only campaign: road, electricity, good water, and school. Those are the four things they have been promising Nigeria since 1960, and they could not fix that. So actually the country is a fail. The country has failed. So let everybody in a peaceful way go on his own way without
But
no
that will never
trouble.
happen. That will
Yeah.
never happen.
Why do you
Well,
say that?
no, sorry, hold on. Yes, everybody go their own way is something that I think is set and understood within the Nigerian space. But everybody going their own way peacefully is not anything that will ever happen. Nigeria will never break up without some bit of like almost heavy bloodletting. I cannot see how that will be because these people, of course, they are not going to let go of the oil wells in the Niger Delta without a fight. Look at these people now. Nigeria is the 20th worst largest economy in the world, and these people are sitting on top of it. Countless fortunes. The storyline we did was it yesterday was about how a good 40 million was 40 billion was just being illicitly flowed into places like just the UK and UAE alone. So just 40 billion just to those two countries alone. So nobody is going to let go of that level of wealth without a
Okay.
fight. So Nigeria,
Let me
yes,
ask you.
break up, yes, but peacefully, there's a question mark on
Let
that.
me ask you something, one man. So, what should we in the south do? Should we just sit tight and just deal with
No,
what's going on, or
it
fight for our
requires
freedom?
no, it requires elegant thinking. It requires thinking out of the box. It requires moving by with a stealth and guile, but certainly not unzobo zobo chanting or waving placards all over the place or making empty threats, etc., etc., saying that you are forming a Mateku and Eastern Security Network and all this kind of stuff, because that is easily overrun. These people they're actually looking for something that would trigger them unleashing that level of violence. They've just not found the trigger point yet. So violence for violence, the South cannot match. So that is why then we need to then find our thinking that will be able to extricate ourselves from this situation with as much with as minimal as for violence impact as possible. But certainly, it's not something that we can fight our way out of. Certainly not.
I disagree because
Okay.
I think a lot of people have tried all sorts of things. I mean, some people have been shouting restructuring for. In fact, we've been shouting restructuring since 1979,
Okay, so no, let just
and
let
they've been
let because I
restructuring
want to
Nigeria.
round this part. Sorry, hold on. I want to round this particular storyline on off. So you give us your panacea. What do you think the way out is?
Okay, I'm going to now. This is not what I think the way out is, but this is what, from my understanding, because and I'll say I'm not saying this to brag, but I've studied a lot of history, and not just of Nigeria, but of Africa and the world at large. So I've been able to put a lot of things in context. From my understanding, it's not about what I think, but about what's actually going on. Now, like I was saying earlier, there is a lot of what's
No,
going
no,
on
no.
in Nigeria today is
Just
anchored in history.
land on the point,
Right.
Starman, so
A
we
lot of
can,
what's
yeah,
going on in Nigeria today is anchored in past history.
right.
And I can, from my understanding now, and I'm gonna tell you this now. This is, this is the only real plausible reason why I can, everything. And I think, anyway, basically, what's happening now is a great unpausing of what happened, of what Britain put on pause when they came in and colonized the space called Nigeria. Before Britain came in, the Fulanese were running around enslaving everybody. The Fulanese were the greatest slave raiders in history. At a point, there were more slaves in Sokoto than even in America. And these slaves were kidnapped from the south. So this oppression we've been facing from the Fulanese didn't just start with the creation of Nigeria. It started long ago, 250
Yes,
years ago.
right.
Yeah? Right. So Britain came in And Britain only came in not because they wanted to stop slavery, but because they changed tack. When they saw slave uprisings going on all across the South Americas, Haiti, and even some places, some parts of America, they them and the Americans realized, okay, we can't.
Starman, we're really wanting you to give us thoughts on how you think we can
Yes,
extricate ourselves from
but
the.
I want to put some
Yeah,
context. I want to put some context.
yeah.
So Britain and America realized that we can't stop. We can't keep bringing in more of these people because they soon their population will outstrip
Right.
ours.
Yes,
So they
we
changed
know.
tack, and the attack was
Fast,
now
fast forward it to the
okay.
Nigerian situation.
So they changed tack. The attack was now okay. Keep them enslaved on their land, which was Nigeria, because Nigeria was where most of the slaves were taken from. So keep
Right.
them enslaved on their land. And they now came to stabilize what was going on in Nigeria, which was a rampant
Okay,
Fulani slavery.
I'm going to have to round it off first time, man, because you are taking us down the scenic route. I just wanted you to
In
just give
three
us
minutes,
that.
in 3 minutes, our land. Just give me three
Yeah.
minutes. Okay. So they decided to stabilize the land due to which was very unstable due to Fulani rampant slave raiding. They fought a few wars with the Fulani and then realized, hold on, these guys were on the same mission to colonize. And then subsequently, they used Fulani to, through all the independence and everything. So basically, what's going on now with not just Nigeria, but also Ambazonia, and to a large degree, Yoruba land. You can see all the secessionist movements that are going on, especially in Africa. Most of them are in the West African region. There's a reason why. What's going on now is
Well,
that
no, they're not. It's all over the place. The Who are they that are trying to separate from Iraq, etc., and in Turkey, the Kurds.
yes,
So
oh yes,
it's all over the place. So
yes,
it's not
there's
peculiar
secessionist
to Africa.
movements, but
The
but
configuration of the world was aligned, but with selfish interest, not just Africa but the whole world. It was aligned along along self interest, and they just brought out a map and divided people up. And of course, it's that rebalancing now that is manifesting in what we're seeing globally. So it's not peculiar to Africa. So I want to go on to the next
okay.
storyline, Starman. So I'm happy for you to stay, but I do want to go on to the next storyline because the pressure of time and all that. So that was the narrative for Pantimi, but this is a more light-hearted storyline that I wanted to introduce because, of course, it's always heavy going in this space. But I thought this might tickle you because it tickled me when I saw it. So this is the schooling system in Nigeria, and we're going to Lagos State. So when you get that report that you take back to your father, that your teacher records how you performed in the course of the year, and you wait in apprehension for your father to open the envelope. So this is the report that a person was given rather, and took to her parents, and this is how it goes. She is not like a human being. Teacher slams student in a report card. So that is the teacher's note. Of course, when you get those reports, they'll grade it how you did in subjects, etc. And then in the last half of that report sheet, the teacher then writes their comments on you just to give your parents an idea of what their interaction had been with you in the course of that year. So the interaction that this girl had with the teacher has led to the point where this teacher had to write in that teacher's note, she is not behaving like a human being. So what justifies this? Let's get into it. An unidentified teacher at a public school in Surulere. Sorry, I'm getting some reverb. So let me just put you both on mute. Just, just un momento. Okay. I think there was some starman. Okay. An unidentified teacher at a school in Surulere, Lagos State, has written a nasty remark about one of her students at the just concluded second term examination. In the undisclosed student's report card, the teacher revealed that she doesn't usually behave as the teacher revealed that she does not usually behave as if she is a human being. This means that it is either the girl is troublesome or she is extremely naughty or weird in school. The report card belongs to an unidentified student who attends Clegg's Girls Junior School. So that's Clegg's CLEGG Girls Junior High School in Surulere, Lagos State. Nigerian parents are currently angry at the teacher for writing such a remark. Some Nigerian parents believe the teacher was being unprofessional. So that is just the short and to the point of it. It just rather tickled me. I've never heard anything like that before. Who you help? What was your school report like? What did the teacher say about you?
Um,
Because even your rascality is still with you, we can still see it there. So I can only imagine what it is. Can you imagine that you take that envelope to your father that this is my school report, oh, but you are confident that you did well in math and English and everything. And then to the last comment, the teacher says that you don't behave like a human being. Star man. Eh?
Yeah.
Don't hide away. What was your school report like? What did the teacher say about you?
Well, I wasn't the most rascally, but yeah, I had my moments. I'm sure we
Yes.
all did.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not
just
okay.
something that
He's probably in a boarding.
it's just something that tickled me. Who you help?
uh, what was is so? Do you want us to comment on what the parents are saying or Nigeria
Oh no,
Parents
just
Association?
no, just however you are digesting it. What do you make of that?
I think for me, I was not that so radical in school, but I have my moment like like every other kids. But for me, I think this is where we are getting it wrong a lot in Nigeria. When a teacher actually wrote a letter to the parents to notice how their kids are behaving in school, all the parents now are complaining. And then you have a society where from age of 30 downward in Nigeria, they are all probably 80% is in trouble.
Agberos.
Yes, 80% are agbero, yahoo, everything you can count on, ritualist and everything. And then parents are screaming now that, oh, the teacher is not professional. How will the teacher be a professional? By not reporting what she was experiencing every day in the school. And if the teacher did not report, they will say, oh, she doesn't even care. She just went there to get his money and go home. Now that she care, she wrote a note to the parents so they can know what step, probably to seek a professional help, psychological help, or to see some other treatment about this girl. But yeah, the parent association, Nigeria, I don't know. I think we should. One problem is this in Africa is that nobody want to listen to any statement that is wrong about their kids. All they want to hear, oh, your son did well in school, he was
There you
excellent
go.
in mathematics.
Is that not what you want to hear?
I want to hear how did they, for example, for sure here
Yeah.
you will go to a meeting, they will tell you how the boy behave or how the girl behave. I have been in those meetings and I love it because that gives me more knowledge of what was going on when I'm not around my kids. So in Nigeria, we don't want to listen to that. Everybody want to pretend like, oh, my son is this. And then when you say, oh, your son did this yesterday. No. They argue, they scream at you. Leave my son alone. Go and face your own business. And suddenly the son, I said to my friend the other day that out of 10
Sorry,
Yahoo
pardon.
boys, out of 10 Yahoo boys, 7 to 8 of their mom knows about it.
Very true. Starman, did you want to make any comments or any closing remarks before we let you go?
Well, just looking at the educational system in Nigeria and Africa generally, I mean, it's a classic case of, well, if the only tool you've got is a hammer, then every problem begins to look like a nail. You have an educational system where there's no variety. That girl, for all you know, that's not the right configuration for her to be learning in. Maybe she needs some sort of vocational, education or something. But we just have, and then you even look at the quality of the schools. I remember one time when I remember it was trending about schools in the south with no roof, schools in the south with no tables, no books in the library. And then I remember for some reason I went on Google and did some research. I started researching, let me even see what schools in the north look like. So I typed in Almajiri schools. There was no difference. And that was when I began to realize that, they've... And it was around that time as well, Nnamdi Kanu was saying...
The fire on the mountain.
Of Nigeria. Obasanjo was saying Fulanization of Nigeria. I came up with a new term, and this is what I think is actually being done to Nigeria. They are turning the whole place into a giant Almajiri country.
Yes, but that serves the interest of their religion because and their faith culture. Because you need the level of backwardness from the people for them to remain docile so that you can continue to have dominion over them. Imagine if you had an educated mass within the northern Nigerian space, you would not have what is going on there. When girls are being farmed into married at the age of 12, 13, then somebody, of course, would repel that if they had the education. But if they continue to leave them within that docility, then of course they will continue to have that dominion. So thank you, Starman. Very interesting. I'd like you to come back again. We're usually on for around about 1:45 UK time usually. We were a bit late today because I was having some domestic stuff to sort out. So I had some works in the house that was being done. So thank you very much for your contribution. It's been very engaging, and I particularly enjoyed that you had different opinions from mine because I like that friction in order to evolve a conversation, and you held your ground. So very good. So carry on.
Can I say one last thing before I go? Now, you can never have a large educational mass.
Sorry, one moment. Let me just acknowledge Tosin. Tosin, we see you, but give us a moment. Carry on.
You can never have a large educational mass in the north, and by default, the quality of education in the south is never going to get better. It's going to progressively get worse. And this is because Nigeria is under the control of two groups of foreigners, the British and the Fulani. It is not in their interest for us to know.
You always navigate everything back to that point.
Look, because this is the origin.
That was the genesis. That was actually the genesis.
If we're talking about how to fry dodo, I'm pretty sure Starman will tell you that frying dodo, the genesis is the British and the Fulanis.
No, but think about it.
Point.
This British and Fulani controlling Nigeria, it goes back to what we were saying, and who you help. What we were saying at the beginning of the conversation, that it's better for your own people to run your own land so that there's nowhere to run to when they do wrong. But when foreigners are running your land for you, number one, they are on a selfish mission. They're not going to look after you, and when they finish, they can just run away.
And then there is one point. There is one point again.
Yeah.
There is one point again. The point is that when an Igbo man is ruling in his own land, and then the system is working properly, before he can steal all those kind of money and move them out of the country, there will be alarm bell ringing to stop him already. Even though he escaped.
Even do it.
The money will not leave.
Exactly.
Anyways, Starman, thank you very much. Same time, same place again tomorrow. We look forward to seeing you whenever you have the time to spare. So that was Starman. He was quite clear in his views and he holds them very strongly. He manages to navigate everything back to the Fulani question. But then, of course, everything within the Nigerian space always navigates back to the Fulani question. In terms of the educational structure within Nigeria, a lot of us on this panel were products of that educational system, so we cannot disregard it wholeheartedly, certainly not. And even Starman, that was speaking so eloquently, I forgot to ask him, but I suspect that he might well be a product of that Nigerian educational system too. Wole Soyinka certainly was, Chinua Achebe, Madam Ngozi, etc. So we cannot disregard it, but the standard has fallen to such a point that even should you even call it an educational system anymore is the question. So we'll leave that story. We'll introduce the next person, and then we'll go on to the next story. Tosin, are you there? Tosin, are you there? Can you unmute yourself and say hello? Tosin?
Hello?
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Yeah, sorry. Good morning.
Good
It's
morning.
morning
Where
here
are
where I
you?
am. I'm fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Where are you? Are you in
Uh,
America?
uh,
Because
yes,
that's
this is
seven
I'm,
hours behind. Yeah, carry on.
I'm in Houston, Texas.
Yeah,
I love your show. I love to listen to you. And
brilliant.
I'm a follower. I'm a fan, and you are doing a good job. I like your perspective to
Thank
issues,
you.
basically, and you're not biased. Sometimes you could be controversial,
Well, that's the
but
whole point. How will I
yes,
keep you engaged otherwise if I'm not controversial?
I like the honesty. So, but really and truly, I was just looking at the topic today, the Fulani man in Buhari's government that was exposed by the
Pantami.
Pantami by the
Yeah.
government. I don't know why some of us are acting so surprised. I don't think it's a surprise to some of us because ab initio we knew that most of the cabinet members that form Buhari's government are all sponsors and of terrorism. That's what I believe. Because the Oga himself, the HNIC, the head nigga in charge called Boko Haram, is a terrorist. I don't owe any apology, but the truth of the matter is that exposing just one is not enough. If you dig deep, you realize that almost 70% of them are actually sponsors of terrorism. All the amnesty they are granting to terrorists today, all the monies they are paying to bandits today, is another way of funding them legitimately so that we will not suspect. And this army of bandits are being prepared for the eventual war that is coming to consume the South if we are not careful.
Well,
This,
even if we are careful, it will still happen. It's almost
yeah,
an inevitability that because you see the situation that we have on the ground is that these people they keep pushing and you keep moving back and they push again and you move back. So we're not
yeah,
getting to that point when they push you against the wall, and if you are not able to move back anymore, then you have just one choice: then either to turn around and try and battle your way through, or just keep your back turned. Sorry, there's a lot of or keep your back turned and be slaughtered. So those are the options. Because of course you have to understand that these people they keep pushing, they are in the interlands, all the forest areas of Igbo land and Yoruba land now, so that the Igbo man cannot go and farm anymore, the Yoruba man cannot go and farm anymore. So the Igbos and the Yorubas, they are now even surrendering their farm lands to these jihadists, but will they stay in that farm space? No, of course not. They'll keep on pushing. So they are now coming into the cities now. So they are waylaying people on the motorways and kidnapping them and taking them into the forest. So they're escalating it even more. And then they will then get to that point then when they will start just knocking on doors and you have to either come and pay your tax or get slaughtered. So this is where we're headed. So it is not even a matter of do you want to fight anymore? You are fighting whether you like it or not.
wow, wow. I'm happy you're able to see it from that point of view. You know, when people say we don't want war in Nigeria, we don't want war, we don't want war, we don't want war, let's not talk break up, let's not talk restructuring, let's just make our leaders do our bidding. I laugh because they don't know we're already in war. We're already at war. We're at war already. People die every day in Nigeria. And I don't know if it can be worse than this. But really and truly, I just want to continue to enjoy the program and listen to you and your perspective and your guests. You guys are great and doing a great job. And if need be, I can chip in one or two things later because I'm actually on the road. I'm driving. I
Okay,
went to
thank you.
pick a few things.
Okay, yes,
So,
we'll
I'm
let you
heading
go
home
as you're
now.
driving. Drive safe. So that's Tosin in the United States. He's driving, so of course, his safety is paramount. But of course, the stories that we have been covering, the Pantami situation, it continues to escalate and it continues to escalate with further and further revelations being unveiled to identify this guy as a real extreme character. But then, of course, what will happen next is the question. And the answer, I don't even have to tell anybody. The answer is that nothing will happen to this guy, of course, because he's not the first one to come under this banner, and he will not be the last one to come under this banner. And the entire administration that is vested upon us within the Nigerian space at the moment comes under that banner. So they're all extremists. So I don't really see how they can then say they are singling him out for anything. A lot of noise will be made in the newspaper. He will carry on in his position and things will carry on. What usually happens in the Nigerian space is they will probably deliberately put some controversial item in the news that would divert attention from this pandemic situation. And that is usually how it goes within the Nigerian space. So that was that. That was Pantami. And then, of course, we landed on a light-hearted story of a teacher writing in the girls' school report. Let's just see what that teacher wrote again, that she is not behaving like a human being. So a lot of backlash against that teacher for saying that. And one of the panelists, I think is Who You Help, was saying that the parents that are lashing against this teacher, this is really what encourages bad behavior within the Nigerian space. But then, of course, I'm not really sure that it is so much the criticism that the parents were lashing against, but the words that was used. Because, of course, I mean, no parent would want any teacher sending them a report that their child is not behaving like a human being. The teacher could have found a bit more of an elegant language to express that thought, and that would be my own thinking on it. So let's just see what you guys are saying in the comment section before we round off with the last story. So where were we? I hope the fight between Usman and whoever he was fighting with has stopped. So, Book of Rebellion, Nigerian press has debunked the Pantami story. So, the story that was debunked is the story that Pantami is on the watch list of the Americans. But the story has since evolved from there, and the character and the ideological stance of this guy is what is being interrogated now. And this interrogation is backed with copious evidence, so I'm not really sure how this can ever really be debunked. So that is in answer to that. Jason, Britain and Fulanis can't determine the future of Yoruba people. Usman, Tenimu, Jason, there are still differences between the North and the North Central. Yes, of course, because everybody thinks that the North is just one single homogeneous, there is just one androgynous being. But then, of course, the sub-ethnic breakdown of the North is probably greater than the ethnic breakdowns, the main ethnic breakdowns of the South. Because within that North, you have the Fulanis, you have the Hausas, you have the thieves, you have the this, that, and the other. But then, of course, when they speak within the Nigerian space, we ascribe a singularity of voice to that speak. But then, of course, there's a multiplicity of ethnicity within the northern regions. So we carry on with the comments. Who said what again? Okay, so Grace, Nigeria is great. It's people that, so it's people, she didn't finish that sentence, but I suspect that it is the people that are letting it down, is probably how she rounds up. Jason comes in, when you complain about the fraud constitution, they would ask you to go to National Assembly of Crime. Yes, it's the perfect crime the Nigerian situation. So Jennifer is still battling with Usman, so I'll just skip through that. I'm just looking for a comment that is not part of a conversation that is going on between two people, because I think Jennifer and Usman, they are having their own personal conversations in there. So Jason Lincoln, how can Nigerian government fight Boko H when they have Boko H sponsor in government? Well, the entirety of the regime, a lot of people will argue that they are all Boko H sponsors. And you have to remember also, during Goodluck Jonathan's time, when the government was trying to see if they can now use negotiations to settle matters with Boko H, the person that Boko H nominated then to go and negotiate with the Goodluck Jonathan regime was this same Buhari. So he was appointed their spokesperson then, but he is now positioning himself as their number one enemy now, because he occupies now that seat that informs that they must speak in that language. So let's see. So I'm just skimming through to see if there's any comment that actually jumps out to share. Okay, so who do we? I think we've got new name here, Bolin Usman. So Bolin Baba. So Bolin Baba rather. So we've not yet had a comment from Bolin Baba. So let's see what Bolin Baba has to say. Before we get to that, Tosin Adekunle, thanks for the opportunity. Thank you for coming on, Tosin. And I hope you come on again. This is what I encourage. It's the interaction that really makes the session for me, because of course then people get to hear a voice different from mine. Harry Taylor Kamara, the issue is greed amongst Nigerian leadership, regardless of tribe. And so say all of us, I don't think too many people can disagree with her. Bolin Baba, una they let all these small boys control una. Who are the small boys? All these northern small Naim, they control all una. Their papa control una. Now their Peking, they control una. Well, it's not just una that they are controlling. I think you are within the Nigerian catchment too. So I guess that applies to you as well. All of una know well. Now this English, they deceive una. Okay, I think that guy is on a different trip. Bolin Baba. Close your mouth. What Nigeria? Did your forefather? Okay, all right. Okay, so that's it. We'll round it off with a final story. I'll just read this out, and I'll put this hyperlink again in case anybody wants to come and chime in, as we've had Tosin, Starman, and Who You Help, etc. So I'll put the link, and anybody that wants to chime in can come chime in. This really goes to that same greed and avarice that we speak of within the Nigerian space. So Yobe Governor Buni marries Abacha's daughter as his fourth wife. So Miamala Buni, of course, Yobe State Governor, the person also that wears the double hat of being the APC chairman. So in celebration of that windfall now of being the APC chairman, he, of course, has gone and bought himself a new wife. You'll recall, of course, that as soon as they made Adams Oshiomhole the APC chairman, he went and bought himself a wife. Was it from the Seychelles or Canary Islands or Cape Verde or something? Some light-skinned, very pretty girl like that, very young girl. She was the beauty queen of that country, and she was in her 20s, around about 27. And then, of course, she's telling us of a love story of how her, as a 27-year-old beauty queen from another country, fell in love with a 61, 62-year-old Adams Oshiomhole. But then, of course, I'm sure that she did not give any consideration to the fact that Oshiomhole is a dollar billionaire. But that is the narrative, and it looks as though history repeats, as Miamala Buni, in celebration of becoming the chairman of the APC party, has gone and bought himself a wife. And I say bought himself that because, of course, you are saying, how can anybody buy the wife, the daughter of Abacha, which is probably the richest family in the country, but he has gone and bought himself, nevertheless, a wife, Abacha's daughter. And I'm saying bought because he had to part with 24 bars of gold. So that was the dowry, 24 bars of gold. The headline again, Yobe Governor Boni marries Abacha daughter as fourth wife, and I'm pretty sure it's not the first marriage of this girl as well. Governor Miamala Buni of Yobe State on Wednesday married a fourth wife, Gomsu Sani Abacha, in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT. The marriage ceremony was held at the Abuja residence of Mohamed Abacha, the new wife's brother. Boni also doubles as caretaker national chairman of the All Progressive Congress APC, whilst Gumsu is a daughter of former military head of state, General Sani Abacha. The ceremony was well attended by notable Nigerian dignitaries and top government executives, some of which include the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Hamid Ali. In attendance, Buni in 2019, shortly after he assumed office, tied the knot with Umi, a daughter of his predecessor and incumbent of Yobe East Senator Ibrahim Gaidam. So this is this guy now, 45-year-old Gomsom, was formerly married to Bayero Mohammed, a Cameroonian multi-billionaire, but the marriage crashed in 2020. So there you have it now, past the parcel or past the dollars or past the babe or whatever. 24 bars of gold was what this guy parted for the pleasure of getting hold of the monies now that Abacha has kept in safety for Nigeria in foreign shores. So that was the story that was. So we've had 3 sessions. We started off with what is his name? The Fulani extremist is Pantami, and then we landed on a light-hearted story of a teacher in a school report describing the word of somebody in their report as she's not behaving like a human being. So we had some fun with that, and we're rounding off now with the story of the daughter of Abacha, probably marrying for the 4th time or thereabout, because she's had plenty of husbands. But then, of course, the person that she is marrying now has had plenty of wives as well. So that was the session that was. Anyone else with any comments to make before we round off? Let's just see if there's any new names here, because I'm keen to acknowledge the new names. Abel Godson, Usman, you said you are crying for peace within Nigerian youths. Who are they using to kill the innocent Nigerians? Is it not the youth? So I think there's an ongoing debate between Usman and others. Usman, of course, seems to be holding his own. So well done, you, Usman. And that really is the session. So usual time we resume again. And usually there's an evening sessions usually as well that we have for 10:45. So mark that in your calendars. So I'm experimenting with 2 sessions a day for the rest of this month. So you can mark that in your calendar. I just want to see how that would evolve the channel and evolve the conversation and evolve the span of the influence. So the sessions will be 1:45 p.m. and 10:45 p.m. every single day. So we round this session off here, but carry this conversation on in the comment section. And by the way, before I go, let's just remind you to make sure that you have liked and the session and clicked on the subscribe button, because of course that way then YouTube promotes the channel more and we get even more people in. But we will round it off here. But the conversation, as I said, carries on in the comment section. But here I say peace.